welcome to Pecubenmich Folktales Stories channel. Please comment, like, share and subscribe.
Long ago, in the heart of the great Nyandura Valley, there lay a humble village where the earth was dry and hunger was a familiar visitor. Among the villagers lived a young girl named Zuri. She was the daughter of a poor widow, Mama Joho, who wove mats from palm fronds and sold them in the market. Despite their hardship, Zuri had a heart as vast as the open sky, always willing to help others, even when she had little to give. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of fire and gold, Zuri walked down to the river to fetch water. As she knelt by the riverbank, she heard a faint, sorrowful sound, like the whisper of wind through ancient trees. She looked around and gasped. Caught between the roots of a fallen tree was a fish unlike any she had ever seen. Its scales shimmered with colors that danced like the stars, shifting from deep sapphire to molten gold. The fish struggled weakly, its luminous eyes filled with a silent plea. Without hesitation, Zuri reached into the water, her fingers gently untangling the trapped creature. As soon as it was free, the fish gasped and flicked its fins in relief. "Thank you, kind child," it spoke, its voice like the rustling of sacred leaves. "You have saved me, and I will not forget your kindness." Zuri blinked in astonishment, but before she could speak, the fish continued. "Go home, child of generosity. From this day forth, whatever you touch with your right hand shall bring prosperity, but only as long as your heart remains pure." With that, the fish flicked its tail and vanished beneath the rippling waters, leaving behind a trail of shimmering light. Zuri stood there, her heart pounding. Had she imagined it? But as she returned home and touched her mother's empty basket, it filled with the finest woven mats, their intricate patterns unlike anything she had ever created before. Mama Joha gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. When Zuri touched the pot of porridge that was nearly empty, it brimmed to the top, rich and steaming. The news spread like wildfire through the village. But as joy filled Zuri's home, envious eyes watched from the shadows. Among those who heard of Zuri's newfound fortune was Mama Bika, the wealthiest woman in the village. She had always hoarded her grain while others starved, and the idea that a poor girl now possessed such power burned within her like a fever. She called her son, Django, a boy known for his cunning ways. "Find out where she got this power," Mama Bika hissed, her eyes gleaming. "If a mere girl can have such wealth, then I must have more." Django smirked, his mind already weaving a plan. That night, under the cover of darkness, he followed Zuri to the river. He watched as she dipped her hands into the water, her voice soft with gratitude. Though he saw nothing unusual, his greed outweighed his doubt. The next day, Mama Bika and Django took a net woven from the finest silk and cast it into the river. Again and again, they hauled in fish, but none spoke, none shimmered. Finally, as the sun began to set, the magical fish rose from the depths, its scales gleaming with the last light of day. "What do you seek?" the fish asked, its voice like an echo from the spirits. Mama Bika stepped forward. "I wish for a gift greater than what you gave that girl. Let everything I touch turn to gold." The fish was silent for a long moment. Then, with a flick of its tail, it said, "So be it." A wicked grin spread across Mama Bika's face as she reached down to touch a stone. It turned to gold instantly. She laughed, lifting her hands to the sky. But as she reached to embrace her son in triumph, he too turned to solid gold. A scream tore from her lips as she stumbled backward. Her foot brushed against the riverbank, and she became a statue, frozen forever in her moment of greed. The villagers found Mama Bika and Django the next morning, their golden forms gleaming in the sunlight. Fear and awe swept through the village. The elder, Baba Kwame, gathered everyone beneath the great baobab tree. "This is a lesson from the spirits," he declared. "Kindness brings blessings, but greed only brings ruin." Zuri bowed her head, understanding that the gift she had received was a sacred trust. From that day, she used her power wisely, never for selfish gain. The village flourished under her touch, the land yielding bountiful harvest, the hungry always fed. Yet deep in the shadows of the forest, whispers stirred. There were those who still hungered for more, and they were willing to defy the spirits to take it. A man named Kivili, known for his deceitful ways, heard of Zuri's power. He was a traveler who had swindled many, and he saw an opportunity. Disguising himself as a humble beggar, he approached Zuri's home. "Please, kind girl, I am weak and have not eaten for days," he pleaded. Zuri, unable to ignore suffering, reached out to give him food. But as she did, Kivili grabbed her wrist. "Now your power is mine," he shouted. A flash of light erupted from her hand. But when Kivili looked down, his own hands had turned to dust. The spirits had seen through his deceit, punishing him instantly. Zuri gasped, realizing that the power she held was not just a gift, but a test. Years passed, and Zuri grew into a woman whose name was known far and wide. But she never sought wealth for herself. Instead, she taught the village how to nurture the land, how to weave and trade so that they would never be hungry again. One day, she returned to the river and knelt by the water's edge. "I thank you, great fish, for your gift. I have used it as wisely as I could. But I wish for nothing more than a happy village." The water shimmered, and the fish's voice whispered, "Then you have found the greatest treasure of all." From that day on, the river never ran dry, and the village flourished for generations. And though no one ever saw the magical fish again, the story of Zuri's kindness was told under every moonlit night, a lesson for all who listened. For in the heart of every gift lies the power of the soul that wields it.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.